I opened an account to document the daily moments with my boyfriend. Unexpectedly, a few videos went viral one after another, and I became a well-known romance blogger across the internet. Later, at the request of my fans, I live-streamed a surprise birthday gift for my boyfriend. The door opened, but a beautiful woman wrapped in a towel came out. She hooked her delicate fingers around the bag in my hand, not even glancing at me. The delivery is here. Why are you still standing around? Chapter 01. In the few moments I was stunned, the woman had already slammed the door shut. The comment section was flooded with profanities, all of them filtered into a mess of symbols. Am I seeing things? How is there a woman there? Damn. Let's be clear, she just got out of the shower. Impressive. The sheer shock left my mind blank. I raised my eyes to check the door number again. The next second, I reached up and smashed the decoration on the door. Who is it? A familiar male voice grew closer. In no time, the door opened inward, revealing a familiar face. Jacob stood there with wet hair, bare-chested, and a towel wrapped around his waist. I looked at him with utter disappointment. He stood frozen, and when he finally reacted, he grabbed the door handle. But before he could make another move, I kicked the door with full force. You really are like a toad chasing a frog, ugly but with fancy tricks. I worked so hard to prepare a surprise for you, and this is how you surprise me? Lily, let me explain. Explain what? You think I'm blind? If I hadn't shown up now, would I have walked in on you two working on the next generation? My gaze swept past Jacob and landed on the gift bags on the table. Inside were all the things I spent the entire morning preparing. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. I shoved him aside and tore the bag open. Jacob followed behind, still trying to make excuses. I grabbed the cake and smashed it onto his head. A cake I made with my own hands, should have fed it to pigs instead of you. Chapter 02. Jacob. What happened? A soft female voice came from the bedroom. The room fell into sudden silence as Jacob avoided my gaze. Looking sheepish, I let out a cold laugh, holding the remaining cake, and kicked open the bedroom door. The slender woman, now only wrapped in a towel, lay on the bed, her eyes covered with a black blindfold, unable to see who entered. In a sweet, coquettish voice, she called, Jacob, come here. I plastered the rest of the cake onto her face. Your daddy's here. Ah, she screamed, but with her hands tied up. All she could do was wriggle helplessly. Who are you? Take a guess. I sneered, pressing the cake tray onto her face, determined not to waste a single bit of cream. Lily, you're insane. Let me go. Jacob told me everything. You're just a crazy shrew. What a mess. I burst into laughter, louder and more exaggerated with each passing second. A match made in hell. Huh? Tomorrow flowers will be growing over the sins you're committing today. Jacob, save me, the woman whimpered softly. I turned to glare at Jacob, who was gripping the doorframe tightly, trembling. Ugh, so useless. I grabbed the woman by the chin, stuffing more cream into her mouth. Your precious Jacob is having a seizure. He can't even take care of himself, let alone save you. She continued whimpering, her slim waist twisting in distress. Jacob, what are you? A hen laying an egg? Cluck, cluck, cluck. Even now, you're pretending to be innocent. Can't even cry properly. Jacob, clearly disturbed, finally spoke up. Lily, stop. Clara is just a fragile woman. She can't handle your beating and insults. Chapter 03. Let me make it clear. I didn't hit her. I got out of bed, grabbed Jacob's suit nearby, and wiped my hands roughly. He winced in pain. Lily, that's expensive. More expensive than your coffin? I sneered. All the clothes in this wardrobe were bought by me, and he still had the nerve to act. As I turned to leave, I glanced at the woman lying on the bed like a dead fish and smirked. Sister, you better understand. This man might look decent, but he's just a freeloading scumbag. You'll get nothing by sticking with him. I could kick you both out right now since I pay the rent, but seeing as you're a girl, and probably a little embarrassed, I'll give you some time. What do you mean? Jacob followed me to ask. I grabbed my phone. It's 4 in the afternoon. I'm giving you until tonight to move out. or I'll call the movers to clear you both out." After saying that, I slammed the door and left. The live stream chat had already exploded. Earlier, I tossed my phone aside to deal with the trash more conveniently, but they could still hear everything. The moment I took action, I knew everyone would think I was a violent maniac or a shrew, but I couldn't swallow that anger. Jacob was my first love. He chased me for half a year before I agreed to date him. I never believed in love, but for him, I softened my edges and learned to love. And this is what he pulls? I didn't send them to the hospital only because we were schoolmates. Plus, I started this account to document my relationship. Now that my boyfriend is gone, what's there to document? Feeling defeated, I picked up my phone, ready to announce that I'd delete my account. But to my surprise, the comments were nothing like what I expected. Chapter 04. Lily is amazing. That scumbag is disgusting. If Lily hadn't tricked him into thinking she was on a business trip, who knows when she would have caught him. He had the nerve to act like a devoted lover. What a joke! Off topic, does anyone else think Lily's insults sound like rap? Yeah, she didn't even stutter. I'm impressed. The more I read, the more silent I became. Are online users always this unpredictable? Some even turned my comment section into a serialized drama, if there's any follow-up. Please post it. I'm camping on your profile these days. Snapping out of my shock, I took a deep breath and calmly said, "Sorry for making everyone witness this mess, but there won't be any more updates on this situation. I'm not the type to dwell on things, and from now on, Jacob and I won't have anything to do with each other. If you want to unfollow, feel free." After that, I ended the stream. I thought most of my followers were only there for the couple content, so they'd probably leave in droves. But someone had screen recorded the live stream and shared it online. Now, it's being reposted everywhere, even by a few marketing accounts. I've gotten even more popular. I gained over 100,000 new followers. Jacob and that woman Clara were getting dragged through the mud by netizens, unable to handle the mental strain. Jacob sent me messages, called, and even used his gaming account to DM me, begging for forgiveness, but I ignored him. In the end, he must have panicked. He called me from someone else's phone and shouted, "Lily, you've got guts. Since you don't care about our history, I won't be nice anymore." Chapter 05. After Jacob hurled that threat, he went completely silent, as if he were dead. I didn't take his words seriously, but that night, several marketing accounts suddenly posted articles simultaneously. They claimed that the live stream where I caught Jacob cheating was all part of my plan. The reason was simple. Lily and Jacob's relationship had long since broken down. Jacob wanted a peaceful breakup, but Lily wanted to keep milking the couple's fanbase. To keep her followers, Lily staged this whole drama. She's manipulating everyone, so don't let her lead you by the nose. Ridiculous. In my head, I cursed Jacob 1,000 times. No wonder he studied journalism. He's a master at manipulating public opinion, but he forgot one thing. I, Lily, have never been someone who swallows my pride. I used my main account to repost the marketing articles with a simple question mark, and then I went on a comment rampage. When did our relationship fall apart? Were you hiding under my bed? You think I want to milk couple fans? If you've ever watched my streams, you wouldn't say something so dumb. Defending a scumbag, are you out of your mind? It wasn't long before the marketing account replied with a string of ellipses. The spectators went wild. Finally, someone's putting these marketing accounts in their place. Well done. I'm dying of laughter. I thought these accounts were run by bots, but they actually respond. Jacob really wasted his money on this one. His plan backfired completely. Chapter 06. Jacob's ridiculous antics kept me tossing and turning, unable to sleep. It feels like I've been dating a sealed plastic bag all this time. Sometimes, a faint stench of garbage would seep out, but I'd gotten so used to it that I didn't even notice. Until one day, I accidentally poked a hole in the bag, and the awful smell hit me full force. That's when I realized the plastic bag wasn't just containing garbage. It was garbage itself. I'd been dating garbage. The thought hit me like a punch in the chest. There was no way I could sleep, so I went ahead and booked a cleaning service for 7 a.m. the next morning. The next day, I met the cleaning crew right on time and led them to the place that needed cleaning. I inserted the key into the lock and turned it twice, but it wouldn't open. Great. Still here? The eviction deadline had long passed. What? Were they expecting me to help with their funeral arrangements now? Since the door wouldn't budge, I took the crew around to the window of the master bedroom in the back. And just my luck, I heard some morning workout noises coming from inside. The cleaners exchanged awkward glances. I motioned for them to step back as I pushed the window, surprised that the dimwit Jacob hadn't even locked it. A woman's scream pierced through the air from inside. "Aw, Jacob, she's back!" Jacob looked over too, and after realizing what was happening, quickly grabbed a blanket. "Lily, are you crazy?" I let out a cold laugh, grabbed the water hose from one of the workers, and aimed it right inside. "Don't you dare sleep in the bed I paid for. Get out." Chapter 07. After getting rid of the bedraggled Jacob and Clara, I had the cleaning crew scrub the place from top to bottom and then contacted the landlord to cancel the lease. Everything had happened so fast. I hadn't even had the chance to delete Jacob from my contacts. So, I sent him a bill. We rented this place for 3 months. I barely stayed 10 days. So rounding up, let's call it half a month. Kindly return 2.5 months' rent. Jacob? My request is pretty reasonable, right? The message went through, followed by a red exclamation mark. Jacob had deleted me first. Did he really think that'd stop me? Initially, I only wanted him to pay the 2.5 months rent, but now he'd have to cover the utilities too. Before I could even reach out again, he sent me a legal notice. The lawyer on the phone was stern. "Is this mess, Lily? Mr. Jacob has instructed me to recover half of the earnings from your joint account." Joint account? Yes, the one you used to document your relationship. I was repulsed. How does he have the nerve to ask for that? I had managed the account, recorded, and edited all the videos by myself. The rare times he'd show his face, I'd have to give him gifts and treat him to dinner. But the account documents your relationship. Can you date someone all by yourself? I can not only date alone, but I can also have a child by myself. The lawyer was silent for a moment. "Since you're talking nonsense and refusing to cooperate, expect a court summons soon." I chuckled. Was he trying to scare me? "What's your name?" I asked the lawyer. "Chan." "Well, Mr. Chan, listen carefully." I summarized the whole situation and warned him. "Jacob never tells the truth. Don't let him drag you down." Before he could respond, I added, "And as far as I know, lawyers need a high success rate to secure more clients, right?" "Yeah, so, I'm telling you now, with the evidence I've got, you won't stand a chance in court." My voice was cold. "Not all money is worth making. If you try to whitewash this scumbag, I'll make sure your reputation goes from a phoenix to a chicken." Chapter 08. After a long silence, the lawyer asked, "Are you in the legal profession too?" "No, I study funerary services. I specialize in handling dead men." More silence. Eventually, he asked, "Do you have any final messages for Mr. Jacob?" "Can I curse?" "Preferably not." "Then I have nothing to say." Not long after I hung up, I received a call from an unknown number. Jacob's hysterical voice rang out. "Lily, how could you be so heartless? What did you do to my lawyer?" "What did I do? Why did he refund my money? Seems like he didn't want to stoop to your level." You, Jacob spluttered, finally blurting out, "You witch." I rubbed my forehead. "Get your facts straight. Who's really the wicked one here?" I reflected on our time together. I hadn't done a single thing wrong to him. Because I was 3 years older, I always saw him as a little brother and practically spoiled him. If he hadn't cheated on me, I would never have gotten mad enough to react the way I did. And I'm not the type to hold grudges and plot revenge. You pushed me first. If I didn't fight back, you'd be walking all over me by now, unable to win the argument. Jacob's heavy breathing echoed through the phone. "Don't think your sharp tongue means I can't beat you. Please, who wants to fight you? Just return the rent, and we'll never see each other again. Deal?" "Like hell. You made millions from that account. You owe me half." "Give you half, and you'll leave?" "If you give me half, I'll consider dropping the lawsuit. Ha! I scoffed. What sewer did you crawl out of this time? Listen up, there's no way in hell I'm giving you a single penny. Chapter 09. The fading of love is truly a frightening thing. A couple once in love can grow to detest each other. I anticipated that Jacob wouldn't stay content for long, but I didn't expect that without any benefits. He couldn't sit still for even a day. Of course, during our relationship, I already had a stable income, while he was still a student carrying student loan debt. To ease his burden, I helped him pay off his loans and sent him money for living expenses. When we went out to eat, I never let him spend a dime, and I regularly bought him small gifts. Later, when he had a falling out with his roommate and wanted to move out, I was the one who ran around finding him a place. With me around, his life was easy and carefree. Now that I'm no longer playing the fool, his days must have tightened up again. It's easy to get used to luxury, but going from luxury back to simplicity would be the death of him. To force me into giving him money quickly, Jacob used his personal account to post a long, emotional essay during prime time on the platform that night. After reading through it, I couldn't help but laugh. To sum it up, everything that's happened recently is all Lily's doing, just to force me not to break up. I laughed. He's making things up again. In his post, Jacob portrayed me as an emotionally unstable, even somewhat deranged person, and shamelessly, he started a live stream, crying his eyes out in front of the audience. I've wanted to break up with Lily for a long time, but every time she finds ways to force me to stay. If I don't listen to her, she even threatens to hurt herself to scare me. We've long since lost our feelings for each other. Now all that's left is the painful torment. Oh no. It's just her one-sided torment of me. Not a word that comes out of her mouth is true. Now that she can't have me, she wants to destroy me. Chapter 10. Disgusting. It seems he hasn't been scolded enough. I stretched my fingers, ready to strike back hard, when suddenly Jacob held up a piece of paper in his live stream. I have proof. Look. Lily has bipolar disorder. She really can go crazy. I froze. That really was my medical record. How did he get it? To make sure everyone could see clearly, Jacob shoved the paper right up to the camera. See? The patient's emotions are extremely unstable, with tendencies of self-harm and harm towards others. This was written by a doctor. Now you believe I wasn't lying, right? In the video, there was a strange glint of satisfaction in Jacob's eyes. I clenched my fists and stared at him, feeling the blood in my body slowly cool, as if cold air was seeping out of every bone in my body. Jacob continued his act. He sat upright and said seriously, "Friends, what I'm about to tell you might challenge your understanding." He paused, seemingly hesitating. Honestly, as a man, I didn't want things to get this ugly, but Lily's gone too far, and I can't let her keep throwing dirt on me. Jacob rolled up his sleeve and leaned closer to the camera. Look at the bruises on my arm. I looked at the screen, too. Jacob's arm was covered in blue and purple marks. This is all Lily's doing. She has violent tendencies and often takes her anger out on me. But in front of the camera, she plays innocent. Chapter 11. Jacob even showed everyone his thigh and back, with scars all over, shocking to the eyes. If I weren't Lily herself and sure that I didn't have a second personality, I would have suspected that I did this. During the live stream, Jacob's eyes became redder the more he talked. I can endure physical violence, but the mental torture, I really can't take it anymore. She wouldn't let me talk to any women, and even if I spent too much time with male friends, she'd get angry. Being with her, I had no time for myself. I was like her dog, obeying her every command, wagging my tail just to make her happy. If one day I felt too tired and didn't cheer her up in time, she'd threaten to kill herself. Jacob pulled out a bloodstained shirt. Look at this. It's from one of the times she self-harmed to threaten me. I got this on my shirt when I was carrying her to the hospital, and no matter how much I washed it, the stain wouldn't come out. I wanted to throw it away, but it was the first shirt she ever gave me, so I ended up keeping it. On camera, Jacob even squeezed out a few tears when we were together. I truly loved her. When I left, I was truly exhausted. As for that live stream when you all attacked me, Lily had gone crazy again. I had already broken up with her, and she still thought I was her boyfriend. Chapter 12. I suddenly found it hilarious. My mother was right, love is just a tool for fools to be tricked. If I hadn't believed Jacob's lies back then, I wouldn't be standing here with all my wounds exposed, publicly humiliating myself in front of everyone as I argue with him. As the so-called evidence appeared, the comments started to shift. Some were already feeling sorry for Jacob, calling me two-faced, saying one thing in public and acting another way in private, even though the only real thing Jacob provided was that one medical report. But that illness was from years ago. At the time, I was mentally broken because my mother had been driven to suicide by my father, who had pressured her until she jumped off a building many times. I wanted to follow her, but I had 2 pets at home that I couldn't find new homes for. I was afraid that if I died, they'd starve too, so I fed them day after day, until time slowly eased the pain. But now Jacob is trying to drag me back into the abyss. He seems to have forgotten the words he said when he first saw my diagnosis, how he'd stay by my side forever. Protect me. What I can't stand the most is him claiming that I self-harmed just to threaten him. For the record, during the time we were together, the only time I truly had a breakdown was when my father, who had run off with a mistress, shamelessly returned and tried to take my pets away. I grabbed a broom and beat him half to death, then dragged him out and dumped him on the street. That day I did spiral into a dark place again, and Jacob was so scared by the blood that he trembled and didn't dare touch me. He just called 911 and got out of there as fast as he could. On the way to the hospital, his shirt got stained with blood, but those stains never set, and he threw it away a long time ago. Now, I have no idea where he's pulled out this new bloodstained shirt. Thinking back to when I wrote my will before self-harming, leaving all my money to him on the condition that he take care of my cats, I feel like slapping myself back to that moment. Thankfully, I didn't die. Chapter 13. I have to admit, Jacob has some tricks up his sleeve. The best way to destroy someone is to make everyone think they're crazy, isn't it? Who's going to believe a lunatic? Jacob is now eagerly waiting for me to start a fight with him, to get sucked into this mess. The more I lash out at him, the more solid the label of crazy becomes. In a few days, he'll be washed clean of all his wrongdoings. I'm furious, but I know I have to stay calm. I can't fall into this scoundrel's trap. After punching the punching bag a few times, I took a deep breath to calm down. Whether it was him hiring shady accounts to defame me in the past, or fabricating lies now, Jacob's only goal is to get more people on his side. He wants to use public opinion to crush me. He thinks that once I can't stand the pressure, I'll pay him to settle. But what he's forgotten is that I'm not the type to swallow my pride and let things slide. If I don't get revenge, I wouldn't be Lily. So if he loves drama, fine, I'll put on a show for him. That night, as soon as Jacob finished his stream, I posted my own live stream announcement. All the curious onlookers and gossip accounts flocked to my channel. By the time I started, there were twice as many viewers as when Jacob streamed. I didn't rush to explain anything. I just stared into the camera with a mocking smile. Jacob, I know you're watching. I've given you multiple chances, but I'm starting to think you've caught a stomach bug recently. Seems like your brain got fleshed out too. Do you really think people are going to believe your lies? Chapter 14. You said I was the one who hit you? I sneered. I had been puzzling over something. Based on what I know about Jacob, he's too much of a coward to hurt himself. So where did those terrifying scars come from? Then, in a flash of inspiration, it hit me. Jacob, I decided to go all out. If you're so confident, why don't you do a live stream at the hospital and get a medical report showing you were actually injured? If you prove it, I'll admit I was the one who abused you. And that shirt, I'll pay to have it analyzed. If the blood turns out to be mine, I'll admit I used self-harm to threaten you. Deal? But if there's no medical report and the blood on that shirt isn't mine, then it proves you're lying. You like to say bipolar disorder is the same as being insane? Fine. But if it turns out everything you said is a lie, you better get ready to pay me damages for emotional distress. The comment section exploded. Lily's so bold. Could it be that Jacob really is lying? There have been so many twists and turns with these two. I'm reserving judgment for now. Reserving judgment. Or did you just get slapped in the face? I remember your username. You were Jacob's biggest supporter. Some of my longtime fans also chimed in, flooding the chat with messages. I always thought Lily only won arguments with insults, but her logic is on point too. Exactly. When it matters, Lily is sharp and calm. I was starting to doubt Lily when I watched Jacob's stream, but it never even crossed my mind that there could be medical and blood tests. But most of the viewers were just there for the drama. They were tagging Jacob, egging him on, "Come on, go live and show us the hospital. We want to see how badly you're hurt." And stream the shirt's blood test too. I'm dying to know who's lying. Chapter 15. To block all of Jacob's escape routes, I leaned closer to the camera, full of sarcasm, and said, "Jacob, I know you too well. Are you planning to come out in a few hours?" And then say to everyone, I mimicked his tone, "Sorry, everyone. I was resting and didn't see my phone." I don't know what Lily was talking about. I laughed out loud. The Great Wall must be made of your thick skin, or else how could it stand for thousands of years? After saying everything I wanted, I sat back, waiting calmly for his response. Some viewers in the comments were getting impatient, asking why I wasn't showing evidence to prove myself. "Don't you have chat records? Show us so we can see." I smiled. Why should I prove myself? Even if I prove it once, Jacob will accuse me many more times. Do I have to respond every single time? Whoever makes the claim must provide the evidence. It's the same logic. Since he's claiming it's all my fault, he should prove it to everyone. I looked at the camera again, seriously telling everyone, it's up to him to prove his words are true, not for me to prove his lies are false. The comments were silent for a moment. Not long after, they started scrolling like crazy again. "Lily's savage. She totally cut off his escape." To be honest, I usually unfollow influencers who get involved in drama. I really can't stand ungraceful people. But this move from Lily is follow-worthy, although I still don't know the truth. I give her full points for this logic. Chapter 16. Jacob had no way out and was forced to respond. "Come on, everyone. Does this even need proving? Anyone with common sense can see what's going on." But such a weak excuse couldn't convince the crowd watching the drama unfold. Jacob wasn't that stupid, though. He knew the more he said, the more mistakes he'd make. So he stuck to his story. Everything's obvious and doesn't need to be proven. However, as soon as he turned around, he called me, asking to meet. "Lily, for the sake of our relationship, can we not make this any uglier?" He pleaded. "Let's talk face to face." There's nothing to talk about. I'd already given him too many chances. "Lily, I really don't want us to end up destroying each other. If we keep going like this, we'll both be stains on each other's lives." I sneered. "Don't talk to me about life. You weren't even born a human." "Jacob." Over the phone, I could hear his angry, frustrated breathing. Jacob seemed to be struggling to control his emotions. "I'm begging you. Let's meet and talk, okay?" I knew Jacob too well. The only reason he insisted on meeting face to face was that it would be harder to leave any evidence. "How about this?" I thought for a moment. "Transfer the rent and utilities to my account first, and I'll reluctantly agree to meet you." "Lily, don't push it too far." I shrugged. "Then there's nothing more to say." "Fine," he shouted angrily. "I'll send you the money, okay? Make sure to label it as repayment of debt." After seeing the transfer notification in my account, I replied, "Okay. Send me the location." Chapter 17. Jacob booked a private room in a restaurant. In all the time we dated, he never once took me out for a meal. Back then, I thought it was normal since he was just a student and couldn't afford it. But now, looking back, I realized that a woman in love is blind and self-deceiving. I wasn't in a relationship. I was doing charity work. I knew Jacob had ulterior motives, like a weasel wishing a chicken well. So, even though he tried to be polite, pulling out a chair for me and awkwardly making conversation, I didn't give him a good look, just snorted and asked, "What do you want to talk about?" He didn't answer but instead looked at me with a sorrowful gaze. "Lily, can't we go back to how things were?" I stared at him without speaking, my eyes full of mockery. Why hadn't I noticed before that Jacob had a talent for acting? He was clearly unnerved by my intense gaze. "Lily, why aren't you saying anything? Are you reminiscing about our past?" I'm just wondering why pigs have brains and you don't. Jacob was speechless. Lily, let's not hurt each other anymore, okay? I asked to meet because I want to make up. Seeing that I wasn't speaking, his tone became more desperate. I know you love me, and I love you too. What happened last time was just an accident. I won't do it again. Please forgive me. You love me? I let out a couple of exaggerated laughs. Your love means giving me a cheating scandal, backstabbing me while ripping open my wounds, and encouraging your fans to cyberbully me, right? Jacob avoided my gaze. I acted out of anger. If you forgive me, we can tell the fans it was all a misunderstanding. They'll understand. I clicked my tongue. Knew I should have patched the sky with your face. Oh, and by the way, I lifted my eyes to look at him. I forgot to tell you. I've been recording the whole time. Jacob froze when he realized. He lunged for my phone like a madman. He screamed at me. Lily, how could you be so cruel? Chapter 18. I quietly watched as he lost his mind, until he himself turned on the screen and realized there was no recording icon at all. Jacob was like a firecracker suddenly extinguished. He froze for a few seconds, then rushed at me again. Give it to me. What did you use to record? But I just looked at him with pity and disgust. I didn't record anything. I was merely testing him. And he immediately revealed his true nature. You think I don't know what's going on in that head of yours? I said, kicking the dumbfounded Jacob away. You just can't produce the evidence and are afraid the backlash from public opinion will come crashing down on you. You want me to let you off the hook, right? Jacob's face flushed red with embarrassment, knowing I had hit the mark. But if I really listened to him and chose to settle things, this would never end. If the truth remains unclear, I'll forever be under suspicion. I coldly stared at Jacob. Give it up. I'm not letting you off. Jacob's face turned red, then pale. Do you really have to be so ruthless? I don't get it. Did your IQ get cut off with your umbilical cord? I'm protecting myself and fighting back. And that's ruthless? Then what do you call what you did to me? Chapter 19. Seeing that playing the emotional card wasn't working, Jacob wiped his crocodile tears and sat down in the chair. Lily, you never really loved me, did you? Isn't it laughable that he's still talking about love at this point? Any feelings I had for him were long gone, drowned in his countless schemes. My cold stare must have pierced through him because Jacob's expression slowly twisted. I should have known you're just like your dad, cold-blooded and heartless. Are you waiting for me to die like your mom before you feel regret? My face turned ice cold in an instant. In that moment, my disgust for Jacob reached its peak. You're right. You really deserve to die. I grabbed my coat and stood up. I've already done more than enough for you. Lily! Jacob lunged toward the door to block my way. You can't leave. We haven't discussed everything yet. How about this? Let's release a joint statement. I don't need a 50-50 split anymore. Let's make it 70 of 30, okay? Under my murderous glare, Jacob kept changing his offer, bargaining, if that's too much. How about 80/20ths? I can take that. I just stared at him silently. Jacob gritted his teeth. Fine. 90 out of 10 is a bit low. But I did appear on camera quite a few times. I took a deep breath. I only want to curse you right now. But you're not even worth that. Lily, get out! Chapter 20. After a bitter confrontation with Jacob, I drove straight to see my therapist. It wasn't until evening when I returned home, with the doctor's words replaying in my mind. The hand that holds onto trash can't reach out for gifts. Having made up my mind, I turned on the desk lamp and logged into my social media account. A flood of messages rushed in. I saw that Jacob, unable to provide any evidence, was being scolded relentlessly. But he knew what stepping down would mean. So no matter how much abuse he took, he stubbornly insisted he wasn't lying. He even claimed that my insistence on getting things authenticated was an insult to him. Jacob, will never accept such an insult. The speed at which he changed his tune was faster than a Sichuan opera master switching masks. But I wasn't angry anymore. I just stared at the scars he intentionally showed on camera, silently calculating. When we met, I didn't mention those wounds at all, wanting to quietly observe. Now, my suspicions were almost entirely confirmed. All I needed was an opportunity. So, while Jacob was still busy bickering with netizens, I called up a friend and asked her to send me a special ointment. I had anticipated Jacob's tricks, so I had prepared. Once the ointment arrived, I called Jacob for his address. He was cautious, asking what I was up to. I've thought it over. You have a point. There's no need for things to get this ugly. I explained. I don't know where your injuries came from, but I had some expensive ointment sent over. It should work well. Jacob knew that many of my relatives were doctors, so he didn't suspect the ointment. Instead, he asked, "Why the sudden change of heart?" "I'm tired. I don't want to fight anymore. If you just thought this way earlier, things could have been so much easier. So, can we still go 50-50? "I'll think about it," I replied evasively. My apparent concession filled Jacob with joy, but he remained cautious, only giving me the name of his community, not his exact address. After sending the ointment through a delivery service, I patiently waited. As expected, Jacob wouldn't miss such a perfect opportunity to restore his reputation. Barely half an hour after receiving the ointment, he went live again, holding up the ointment bottle for everyone to see. "I told you all, I wasn't lying. This is the ointment Lily personally had sent to me. She's already apologized." This sudden reversal caused an uproar in the live chat once more. Chapter 21. Jacob took out a cotton swab, dipped it in some ointment, and spoke with a smug look on his face. "Honestly, I never wanted things to get this bad. But thankfully Lily has finally come to her senses." He looked into the camera, applying the ointment slowly. I opened the screen recording and started getting ready. Suddenly, someone in the comments posted a question mark. "Wait a second. Are Jacob's scars fading?" I thought my screen was messed up. But no, they're not just fading. They're getting completely wiped off. More and more people started to notice. Whoa, it's true. What's going on? Jacob, with his eyes half closed, was enjoying what he thought was my submission. But by the time he opened his eyes again and checked the comments, everything had changed. He jumped out of his chair, staring in disbelief at his now scar-free arm, and shouted in frustration, "Lily, you set me up. How could this be a setup?" From the start, I suspected the wounds were fake, but the scars looked so real. I was afraid my plan might backfire, so I made sure to confirm it in person. This level of work must have involved a special effects makeup artist. And what a coincidence. Clara, who I caught on a previous live stream, is a makeup artist. In a flash, I connected all the dots, knowing that special effects makeup isn't that easy to remove. I had someone prepare a special cream and sneak it into the ointment bottle to fool him. But this wasn't a foolproof plan. If Jacob had refused to use the ointment or hadn't applied it during the live stream, he wouldn't have been exposed. But once I set this up, I trusted in fate, because I know Jacob so well. He's selfish and arrogant, never doubting his own charm. Even now, he still thinks I'm just jealous, playing a petty game with him, and he's so desperate to clear his name, even if it means dragging me through the mud. So, he got what he deserved. Chapter 22. Jacob frantically shut down the live stream, but what he didn't know was that I had already recorded everything. I switched to another account and uploaded the screen recording online, and in no time, a flood of mockery and criticism came crashing down on Jacob. At this point, it no longer mattered whose blood was on the shirt, because everyone knew that if Jacob could tell one lie, he could tell many more. He had completely lost any credibility. It didn't matter whether it was hindsight or not. Many people started speaking out, saying they had long been disgusted with Jacob's behavior. He's a man who exposed his girlfriend's bloody past to the public. How vicious can he be? Yeah, imagine sharing your darkest secrets with the person you think is closest to you, only to have them used as a weapon against you. Just thinking about it breaks my heart. Suddenly, everyone was against him. Soon, gossip accounts started posting about an anonymous tip from a fan. In the post, this anonymous girl revealed that Jacob had cheated more than once. "We met on a dating app. I was studying abroad at the time, just looking for someone to talk to, and we matched. He told me he was single, kept asking me to send him pictures, and said how pretty I was. Eventually, I gave in and came back to the country to meet him. That night, he drank too much, and I used his fingerprint to unlock his phone. That's when I found out he had a secret account full of girls. He even labeled them based on their body features. It was disgusting. At the end of the post, the girl attached numerous screenshots of their conversations. The gossip accounts, always hungry for clicks, posted everything at once. That's when people realized Jacob had different schemes for different people. Chapter 23. For those who knew about my account, he would say, "It's all scripted. We're just acting. We're not really in a relationship." But for people like this girl, who had never heard of me, he was even more shameless. He'd claim he was single, then follow it up with, "I fell in love with you at first sight." He used my money to take other girls out to dinner, buy them small gifts, and even have deep discussions about the meaning of life. Then he'd come back to me, all calm and composed, saying, "Lily, my class has been having so many group dinners lately. I've been spending a bit more than usual. Hope you don't mind." Life truly is full of ups and downs, and Jacob was the perfect example. I used to think all I had above me was a small patch of green, but now it seems Jacob has turned the Sahara into a full-blown oasis. Sometimes I'm really impressed by modern internet users. Just from the screenshots leaked by the gossip accounts, they managed to pick up on the smallest clues. And with that, they uncovered a whole string of people who had been involved with Jacob, especially the small influencers with some followers on social media. They were the first to speak out. Afraid of being labeled the other woman, several of these influencers came forward to denounce Jacob, worried that if they didn't act fast, they'd be attacked by netizens. Even Clara, the one I had caught before, jumped into the chaos. She posted several crying emojis. "I'm actually a victim too. Jacob told me he and Lily had broken up. That's the only reason I agreed to be with him. But this woman is too foolish. Does she think the internet has no memory?" Before I could even say a word, someone had already called her out. "Girl, please." In the screenshots posted by the gossip accounts, you literally said, "Come sleep with me. Your girlfriend won't get mad, right?" You knew he had a girlfriend and still went along with it. Who are you trying to fool? Wow, what a classic pretentious coquette. Chapter 24. Jacob couldn't handle the barrage of insults anymore and activated comment selection mode. In fact, deleting his account would be the best way to avoid the abuse. But I knew he wouldn't do it. Over the past 6 months, he had been relying on me to use my main account to bring him traffic, which is how he managed to gather a few thousand followers. The truth is, Jacob didn't know how to edit videos at all. I was the one who came up with the topics, and even edited the videos for him to post. This gave him the illusion that just by standing there, the views and followers would come rushing in. I figured he probably made some money from it, too. That's why, when I encouraged him to focus on his studies and find a good job in the future, he felt confident enough to say, "No need for that. I'm not like those other classmates. I'm going to be an influencer." I told him that wasn't a sustainable plan. I still think having a stable job is more reassuring. He would always dodge the conversation skillfully and use sweet talk to steer me onto another topic. Now, I wanted to see how he planned to save his account. Jacob, realizing that there was no way to recover the situation, stayed quiet for a week before posting another video to test the waters. But the comments section didn't go easy on him. "What the hell is this? The editing is garbage. Did you edit this video with your toes? Have you apologized to Lily and the other girls? Or are you just here to haunt my feed again? Oh my god. I can't believe this scumbag showed up on my feed again. So unlucky." No matter how hard Jacob tried to delete the comments, he couldn't keep up with the speed of the users. Before long, the video was reported so much that it disappeared. On another social media platform, there was an anti-scumbag group. Someone submitted Jacob's case to them. In no time, dozens of girls joined forces and reported Jacob's account until it was gone. I deleted all the videos related to him and updated the description on my profile. Chapter 25. With no other options, Jacob started harassing me by constantly changing phone numbers. "I've already missed the prime time for job hunting. I can't find work, and my account is gone. How am I supposed to survive now?" Not my problem. Just hearing his voice made me nauseous. "Lily, do you know where I am?" Jacob was shouting. "I'm on the roof of the school. I've got nothing left. If you don't give me half of the money you made, I'll jump just like your mom did, and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. I massaged my temples. Jacob, you're definitely going to make me regret something for the rest of my life. Regret thinking you were a reliable person and telling you about my family. Don't give me that. I'm serious. I'm going to jump. Are you sending the money or not? Jump. Go ahead. It's cold out. I'll even make sure you're buried nice and warm. Tired of his games, I hung up and changed my number. Honestly, if Jacob had the guts to do it, I'd stop calling myself Lily. Of course. He didn't jump. A little while later, still unwilling to give up, he found a lawyer and sent me a court summons. Great. I'd use this chance to tally up all the money I'd spent on him and get compensation for emotional damages. In the end, it was no surprise that I won the case, and Jacob was forced to publicly apologize to me. As we left the courthouse, his face was ashen. That money was what you spent on me. How can you ask for it back? Aw, life can be dull, and sometimes fools dare to advise humans. Please, at least try to act like a decent person. Every time you open your mouth, you give yourself away. Without waiting for him to respond, I waved my hand dismissively. I hope this is the last time I see you. When I had walked far enough, I let out a long sigh of relief. The lawyer gave me a reassuring pat on the back. Don't worry, everything's going to get better from now on. I nodded. Finally, after throwing away all the trash, my hands were free to accept new gifts.